got quite the story to share with you all. And no, it's not of Trevor's vasectomy.
Whoa! Dude, I love gay people now!
No, we're a good guy. We're trying to save the kids. Look, we're saving you! Saving!
Okay, so I was born in... currently live in Mount...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Goobers and Screens Hunter x Hunter Book Club. Today, we have Brandon. Say hi, Brandon.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about the final arc of the Hunter x Hunter manga, the Succession Contest arc.
Or Secession War, however we want to refer to it, I don't know.
Yeah, either or, it's semantics. But for this one, this has been a very interesting read. So some background context, as of when we're recording this, Hunter x Hunter has been on hiatus since like 2017 or 2018. Togashi's apparently made some tweets that he's coming back. Hunter x Hunter chapters are coming back. So
supposedly 391 and 392 are finished.
Yeah, so we're talking about chapters, I believe, 361 onward, right? Or 363 onward?
Somewhere in there. I think it's like 340 something, or I can't remember. It has been a second since we started reading this arc.
I thought it was only 30 chapters, so I think it started around like 360-ish.
Maybe. I thought it was around 40. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of reading.
It was a lot of reading, and it ends at chapter 390. So hopefully, if it comes back, we could do weekly reviews on the Rat Nest. But
maybe
before we get into it, this was the first lengthy arc that I have read of Hunter x Hunter. As you guys know from the previous episodes, I watched all of Hunter x Hunter. I read Dark Continent, and I was like, oh, neat. Nine chapters. It was fine. And then, yeah, it feels great to be caught up and actually read what Hunter x Hunter almost feels like now. Just a good feeling. What are your thoughts on this arc? Just general overview before we get into it.
General overview, I really like it. I think that it is an extremely solid arc. However, I have some thoughts on it in that, well, one, we'll save the big thing for the second or third point, but the thing, like this, I mean, obviously it feels like Hunter x Hunter because like this is a sizable chunk of Hunter x Hunter at this point, but also like it feels so different from Hunter x Hunter before it. I like how we talked about with talking about Dark Continent Expedition, right? The art style is different. At least a lot of the art style is different. The writing style is different, and of what's going on is different. And to say it feels like Hunter x Hunter, it's kind of similar to Chimera Ant, where it kind of feels like an arc set in Hunter x Hunter's world as opposed to a Hunter x Hunter arc. At least to me, that's been my experience from reading
I feel
the
that
manga.
too, because honestly, you could honestly swap out Kurapika with someone else in the arc. Like this is an isolated in-universe event. Like regardless of if the main character showed up or not, like this would still be a major event happening in the world to decide the future of like a political election, like a Fortnite death game.
Yeah.
A battle royale. Fuck. Why can't we
Fortnite
escape battle royale arcs?
I don't know.
We've read Jujutsu Kaisen, now this. Oh god. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then the funny meme of, well, what were you gonna say first, Kyle?
I was gonna say, we should let's just get the bitching out of the way once we get to the point. We're both thinking about it. Let's just get it out of the way and then talk about the arc. But what were you going to say?
There's so much reading.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, this is the biggest critique of the arc. And before that, let me say this: I understand why it is the way that it is. Like, at least from what I can assume or surmise, Togashi has been in and out of writing, in and out of hiatuses with like physical pain and like a lot of health issues, and I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna sit there online screech like, "Oh, Togashi, you better continue Hunter x Hunter even if you're feeling ill." Like that's just not cool. And I understand, like, whenever he writes a chapter, he probably feels the need to pour everything he can into a chapter before he goes on hiatus again. That's out of universe. In universe, there's so much dialogue. Brandon, would you be able to, like, edit in some of these pages just on page to demonstrate our points?
Yeah, they'll be gliding across screen. I mean, it's just
God, there's so much, and it makes for a pretty not great reading experience if you're reading it all at once. Because I feel like with manga, you should be able to read it weekly or binge it and enjoy it both ways, since your readers are going to try to catch up to when it releases, like weekly or monthly or whatever. So yeah, it just took so. It just. Like, we enjoyed what we read, Brandon and I, but there was just so much to read where I felt like, oh, that was an hour of reading. And I got through 5 chapters. Neat.
Yeah, I mean, and I've read a lot of manga, and this is easily the heaviest, like, reading a manga has ever, like, had me, like, required of me. I mean, literally, I don't know how, if they're still be scrolling across a page at this point, but there are pages with 2, like, drawings on them, and the rest of the panels are just text.
Oh my god, okay, the 2 biggest egregious examples, at least from what I can remember off the top of my head. The first one is when that guy's thinking about his predator ability. And it's just, like, the only drawing is him sitting there, like, thinking. And it's just the wall of text about Predator. And the other one is something like Kurapika talking to 2 other people, and there's this entire panel where they all have 3 different, like, bubbles going on at once. Like, normally I don't really care about this type of stuff. The most I got annoyed with in terms of, like, manga paneling is in Jujutsu Kaisen, where the arrow's aimed at their crotch instead of their mouth where you would talk. But yeah, no, this is, like, far too noticeable of there's just too much text.
I'll also say the last, like, kind of major criticism that I could think of off the top of my head before we get into the arc and what we loved about it is that I don't know what exactly it is. I feel like the pacing of this arc was kind of iffy. Because,
like, slow? Like, too slow at certain points?
Yeah, because here we are, like, not even 2 weeks into, because just barely over a week into a 2-month voyage. It has been however many years in real time. And obviously, that's not Togashi's fault. We've had, I think, 40-ish chapters, even 30, whatever, however many, a lot of chapters, a lot of reading.
Yeah.
And it's like,
not much has happened.
What? I mean, it doesn't feel like the end is anywhere in sight.
Yeah,
and don't get me. I think the secession contest is interesting. Like, I just wish, like, there's just so many plot threads, and I feel like maybe not. I just feel like Togashi kind of keeps adding new stuff whenever, like, it's just already complicated.
I felt that too. I felt that. I felt like, okay,
there's like 50 open plot threads right now, and it's like, please just tie some of them up.
There's a lot going on, and I mean, a lot of it's interesting, but even whenever they showed the Phantom Trope, I was like, no, please don't swap perspective now. We've had no conclusion on, like, the silent majority assassin, a lot of, like, the inner workings going on between all these people. I don't even want to, I mean, when we get started on it, like, I'm gonna bring it back to the point of too much text, because a lot of it, and I feel like this isn't trying to be, like, snobbish, but I don't feel like it's our fault that we're confused at certain points with just how much text is delivered.
Yeah, I mean, it gets kind of insane with everything you're kind of expected to remember. You know, it's like just turn on your brain. But I mean, like, especially, it's been however long. We get into these Togashi, I think, has said 20 chapters. He's gonna do. Like, there's just so much that people are going to be expected to remember from it, and we've just read this arc over the course of, what would you say, 2-3 weeks or something?
Yeah,
and I mean, we can't even remember all the details.
I remember a lot of the high points, but
yeah,
there's just so much happening.
It's a great arc. It really is. I feel like there's too much details.
That not even a joke. That is, you can, as someone who's, like, studying creative writing, you can definitely overbloat what you write. Oftentimes, like, less is more. And for a manga, I don't know how well that translates, but I feel like if a lot of this stuff just had some info dumping cut and it wasn't as complex, I think it'd be better because that could definitely deter readers. I felt moments of deterrent reading this, but that's okay. Let's spin away from the negative because that's obviously the biggest thing. Like, if aside from there being way too much text, the content itself was very interesting, and that was the one thing that did keep me reading through. Even if there was a lot of text, that was like, okay, I want to see what happens here. There's really cool things going on with the Nen beasts and the princes, like seeing each of the princes' inner workings and like what their I guess military is like. Seeing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love like political stories like this. I think Togashi's writing is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I think that this arc is amazingly well written.
Yeah,
there's just too much of it.
Let's get into it. I remember I accidentally spoiled what the monkey guy's power was, but like, haha.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. We haven't seen really Cheadle or Leorio in like 5 years.
You're right. Oh no, we saw them for like a panel, for like one.
Did
panel.
we? I forgot.
Oh man, I'm stuck to one panel every 5 years. Damn.
That's so true, Shanks fans.
And that, yeah. Let's get into it proper. Because I'm going to be looking up the wiki. Brandon also has his notes. So yeah, at the beginning of it, sorry, quick question. How many minutes are we into the recording? We haven't even started like talking about
a solid 11.
All right, cool. Let's get into it proper. So we see Kurt Cobain, aka the Fourth Prince, aka we call him that because of an inside joke. He does the ceremony, right, where he gets a Nen beast, and it's explained that this is what every prince does. There's this like jar. They put their hand in, I think, and it produces an egg of sorts that will hatch into a guardian spirit beast, or what we're gonna just refer to it as a Nen beast.
Yeah. And so they're kind of based on the person's personality, right?
Fucking the obvious comparison is Stan, but I do like that. Like, putting aside the obvious comparison, I always like powers that grow based on the user's personality, because we see like this is a very good arc to demonstrate the concept of Nen beasts, because with a political contest this heavy with 14 different people and 14 different autonomous Nen beasts, it's interesting to see how each of these Nen beasts develop based on the user's personality.
A side note, have we seen Woble's Nen beast yet?
I don't think we have.
We have.
We seen the 13th, which is like that big dragon thing.
Yeah.
And it transports the room, as far as we can assume, it transported that room to another dimension, which we'll get into later.
Oh yeah, that's right. I completely forgot that's an open plot thread. I forgot that happened.
Locked in the Phantom Zone.
So the 12th is dead, but she had like the thing that like whispered in her ear. Then the 11th, hers is like the door. The 10th makes a clone of herself after she died.
Well, we'll get to that. That made me so fucking sad.
It was pretty sad. The 9th is the one where like him and his guards, like they share their wills and they can like inhabit dead bodies. That's another open thing that we don't know, is we don't know whatever happened to the one guy.
That's Haukenberg, right?
Haukenberg. He's my favorite prince, honestly.
He's pretty cool. He's pretty base. He had the feathers on his hand, right? And then whenever he changed his mind, the arrow power started not being as useful, because the beast was, from what I can remember, his Nen beast was like, we're going to uniform and like stand up against this election, but now that he's done it, I don't think its power is that useful anymore, right? Or am I?
Well, no, like it became more useful.
Oh yeah, because of Unity. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Again, there's a lot to remember.
All right. Let's just get back into it. What happens next, Kyle?
From what I'm looking at here, Kurapika and Mizaistum, they watch the recording where it says on the wiki, Ox interrogates Beyond on the identity of the spy.
I forgot Beyond existed.
Yeah, he's done. All right, next to nothing. So they talk about it. The Zodiacs let him go, and I think isn't this where they find out that Sayu, the monkey guy, is the traitor, and we get an explanation for his power, which hasn't really been useful. It's, as I spoiled last time, monkey see, monkey hear, monkey do. If he can hit you with all three of them, you lose those appropriate senses. You lose the ability to see, like hear, or speak. Pretty cool. Yeah. It hasn't been used at all, but pretty cool. So let's see. The princes are hiring bodyguards. So Kurapika gets a group of people like Melody, Hanzo, Biscuit, other people I don't remember. Masha, I think, like the poet guy. And they're each going to side on to guard a prince. And Kurapika wants to, like, from these listings, discern who's the 9th prince. But who he thinks is the 9th prince is actually the 14th prince, because the 14th prince wanted him to actually think that she was the 9th.
And they're all referred to as princes, regardless of gender.
Yeah, so don't be confused on that if we call like the guys or girls princes. But it's the mother of Wobble, the 14th prince,
Yeah,
right?
Oito. She's a MILF. She's an absolute MILF.
Oito's cool, and Oito's like, oh look, man, I don't give a shit about all this politics stuff. I just want to like get out of this safe. Can you do that? And Kirby's like, yeah, I guess I can. Let's see. Yeah, Siderish, because he was hoping that he could sign on to Siderish's bodyguard. Because Siderish, let me see his name,
Saradnik, I think.
Kurt
4th prince, right? Saradnik?
I'm just gonna call him Kurt because
I think
Kurt.
It's Saradnik.
Wait. He's the one that was basically buying off Kurapika's clan's eyes, so he's been going around eliminating the people who's done it, and I guess Saradnish is the...
Yeah, I think it said that he has the last like sets of eyes.
And we see that, like, remember his introductory panel where he's sitting in that chair?
Yeah. And also fun fan theory I heard about that today. Like in that panel behind him, there's like a head in a jar.
Yeah.
There's the theory that that's the head of Kurapika's friend.
I heard that theory too.
And also, fun fact about this. I'll just go ahead and say it. A lot of people think, myself included, that Kurapika is going to die at the end of this arc. Because Togashi has said before in an interview, I believe it was an interview in Volume 0, which gives Kurapika's backstory, where one of the questions he takes is, what's going to happen with the spiders in Kurapika? And he just says they all die.
Wow, well, hey, this would be the right arc to do it. All the spiders are pretty much on the boat.
I was going to say, Kurapika can get the rest of the eyes, he can deal with the spiders, and with Emperor time, his life is literally going away before his eyes, so all the pieces line up.
Yeah, so I'm scrolling down after the parts that we talked about. Let's see. Okay. It's already time to talk about the greatest fight in all of Hunter x Hunter.
Is it really?
Yeah, because on the wiki it says, like, it's the talk, and it says Biscuits paired with Mariam, Basho with Lucerys, Melody with Cacho, and Hanzo with Momose. And then the next part says Heaven's Arena, Battle to the Death. Let's get into it proper. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, probably the best pure fight in all of Hunter x Hunter. People might be like, oh, Netero versus Meterum because of the symbolism in it.
Yeah,
stuff.
shut up. Hisoka literally beats Crollo with a corpse. It's badass. It's a badass.
Okay, let's get into it because let's get into it proper. I sent Brandon the meme after we read it where it's like Crollo texts Hisoka, I'm at Heaven's Arena, and it shows like an infrared of Hisoka's body and his crotch is like red. So, oh man, I saw that and I knew like they were gonna fight at some point, but no, this fight was just so amazing. Because here's the thing: you have two. I'm not talking about the characters, the powers. These powers could not be any more different in terms of like complexity. Yeah. Hisoka's straightforward and simple. You have bungee gum. Brandon, what does bungee gum do?
I couldn't tell you what it does, but I could tell you it has the properties of both gum and rubber.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you have Crollo, who, oh my fucking
what
God.
Can't he do? All right, we don't need to get into all this because we could talk on this for hours, and people have. If you read the fight, you know. If you haven't, there are many good videos out there breaking down the fight in much better detail than we possibly could.
But I just want to say before we like talk about like the actual fighting itself, I like Crollo's powers. I like how there's a lot of rules to it because once again with Nen, it's a good example of. I think Hunter x Hunter has the best examples of strong powers with strong trade-offs. Like in order to use the book, he has to meet a bunch of requirements, and he does a lot during the fight, which
It gets kind of hard to follow.
it got hard to follow, but I understood the basics of it. Of he simply went around using 2 different powers at a time, where he made either like corpses or copies. He would control them and give them commands to attack Hisoka, and towards the end of it, he added explosives. I don't think I remember every single detail of the fight, but some of the highlights include
he could also change his appearance and change others' appearance.
So that made it even harder for Hisoka. I like the panel where Hisoka goes kind of sicko mode, gets an entire crowd of people and makes a human hammer and starts swinging it around.
So cool.
Like the fact that fights that are always scary are the ones that like are in an arena and then they break out into the stands and just start like at the end of the day, like Hisoka and Chrollo didn't care about anyone in the crowd. It was just like, oh, simple casualty, boo-hoo.
Well, it's part of the reason Chrollo chose to fight Hisoka in Heaven's Arena was for the crowd, so that he could pull off the strategy.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the thing. So this fight was insanely one-sided towards Chrollo, right? But that's because he prepared for so long for it.
Also, can we talk about the theory that you told me? Because I like that idea. Where, okay, spoilers for the end of the fight, Hisoka fucking dies.
Lol, he does. That's so true.
It's one of my favorite panels in Hunter x Hunter is probably just the one where he's just sitting, like, not even sitting, no, he's lying there, deceased. And
he's just dead.
He has, like, no mouth, because his mouth was burnt off in the explosion. He has, like, a leg that's blown off. One of his hands is on his chest, covering, like, his heart, and he has no fingers, and he's just, like, a rotted corpse. And Machi's like, yeah, he didn't even die because of the explosions. He died because of lack of oxygen, because of being dogpiled. To which we get a pretty base scene where Hisoka brings himself back to life.
Yeah, that post-mortem then, dude, it does something else.
It's the fact that in the middle of it, he knew that he was fucking. He's like, well, do or die time.
I was going to say better late than never.
Yeah, he literally says, like, might as well try it. Dies, brings himself back to life, and is like, whew. That was close. It's just a fun scene. And then afterwards, so here's what's interesting. He fixes himself up, traps Machi in place, and then proceeds to go kill Cordopi and Shalnark. Like, easily kills both of them. And Brandon proposed the idea, because here's what I thought at first. I thought, like, oh, he's going around whittling down Chrollo's powers, because Chrollo's using their powers. And as he said, if the person he took the powers from dies, he can't use the powers anymore. To which Brandon brought up the point of like, Hisoka's not that much of a baby.
Yeah, to where it felt a little bit weird to me. I was like, Hisoka wouldn't do that. I was like, he actively wants to fight strong people. He wouldn't get mad if he lost.
Yeah. So here's the theory that Brandon proposed. What if during the fight, some of the fan patrol members were secretly there helping Chrollo during the fight, where Hisoka probably figured out after the fact that he thought it was just a 1v1, where there might have been like Cortopi or Shalnark or whoever hiding their presence, laying around hidden around the arena, because there are a few things that Brandon brought up that weren't resolved mid-fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say one was with Shalnark and his ability. Whenever Chrollo used it, it was used somehow differently than when Shalnark used it, because instead of like a wire, it was like through a cell phone or something. So that's a theory that Chrollo was just telling him what to do, and he was doing it. Then with Cortopi, it was Hisoka is a super genius, and there were a massive copies greater than Hisoka predicted was possible. Hisoka's a genius, and so the theory is that not only was Chrollo making stuff, but Cortopi was.
And okay, for those two, you could make your excuses, but the third one with the bungee gum...
Yeah, where his emergency bungee gum that he attached to the ceiling just somehow disappears.
Or got cut from the ceiling so he could use it back out. So...
People think that was Machi. There's also the thing of Cortopi, Shalnark, and Machi were just there at the end of the fight. Well, I mean, were they just watching? I don't know, seems kind of sus.
Which, if that's the case, because I didn't. I mean, one of the other troop members could have been around, I guess, but maybe Machi did it. I mean, if anything, yeah, Machi probably did do it. But it's weird that he let her go specifically and just killed the other two.
Yeah.
But even then, maybe it's like, I'm going to attach to my toy and then leaves her. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
plus she's hot, so.
I don't think that's Hisoka's type.
That's true. That's fair. Hisoka does like little boys.
Yeah. But no, that theory, that sold it on me as like, that's such an amazing fight because Hisoka, he went with such a baby, so he went around killing them because they interfered. And now, of course, it's like, oh crap, 2 of our members are dead. We're going after Hisoka.
Who is apparently on the Black Whale, but we haven't seen him, so we don't know.
And I'm gonna say that he is.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I 100% think he is.
It's just he's hidden, and we'll talk on that later because the arc slowly like transitions into that. But let me scroll down the page to where it's after all the fighting. I'm looking at the wiki page. Whenever it talks about a power that Carlo uses, it's all in black text. So I'm seeing a lot of like black worded text, like
It gets kind of complicated.
Order stamp, black voice. Let me see. Damn, just that panel with Cordoby is raw with all those crows that are flying around. That's on there. The Black Whale departs. Succession battle begins.
We still haven't seen the Dark Continent.
No, Brandon, I don't think we're ever going to see it at this pace.
I don't think we're going to ever see the Dark Continent either.
They all board the black boat, the Black Whale, and it sets off for the Dark Continent. And they're on the water for 5 weeks? It's like 3 to 5 weeks. They're on it for like around a month.
I thought I remembered 2 months. I could be completely wrong on that, though.
Yeah. So, at this point, we see they go into like Wobble's room, and I think there's like weird NB stuff running amok.
Yeah, it's Mimosa's stuff. This is where our memories of the details get a little bit foggy.
Yeah,
there's a lot that happens.
Well, because at first there's someone who goes around like draining the life out of people because like they just see shriveled up corpses, and the only two that
later is the dude with the like the marionette assassin, or at least he can do it too.
Yeah, Silent Majority. He looks really like we'll get to that later. I really like Silent Majority. Hold on, I'm just looking at more notes.
Yeah. I never really got Silent Majority's ability, so I'll have you explain it to me in greater detail.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm responding to a message. We're definitely professional here. Anyway. So, yeah, they talk about the ceremony. There's a lot of the murdered guards that happen. Oh, yeah, also Bill. Bill's cool.
Oh, yeah, I love Bill.
Bill's just a nice character. There's not really much to say on him, but he's cool. So, isn't there that one guy that's like, he goes out and murders people and goes, well, the thing asked me if I was free, and I said yes.
That's the dude. He's affected. That was Prince Mimosa's ability. She's the 12th prince.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Mimosa dies
well,
later, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, that thing coerces a guy into murder, to which Kurapika uses his cool dolphin man to steal its power, or to steal his Nen power.
That's right. He does do that there too. Yeah.
Yeah, he uses stealth dolphin, which is, I like it. It's cool.
It's a neat little guy. Kurapika is very interesting. Then I always enjoy seeing it.
Yeah, he has like 5 different powers. So he uses stealth dolphin to take the guy who's running amok's power, which is one that lets him take control of insects, right?
Yes.
Scrolling down. Where she, like, this is when Halkenberg also confronts his dad and is like, hey, I don't want to do this. And then his dad's like, tough toenails. You have to.
No, that's later.
Oh, is it? Well, no, there's something. Oh, so I don't know why they do this. The wiki always posts pictures about something, and then the text explains it later, but it says how confronting his father.
I mean, maybe he confronts him about something earlier.
Yeah, guys, also, I'm sorry. We're probably missing a lot of detail, but all I remember is there's stuff with the bodyguards going on. Kurapika takes the power of one of them and stops him and is holding onto it with his stealth dolphin. After that, let's see. Who's Nasubi?
Nasubi. I think she's a handmaiden.
Okay, so she explains the rules to the guardian spirit beasts. So, guardian
Then
spirit
she's someone else. Then I can't remember who she is.
the spirit beasts may not kill each other, and they may not directly attack other users. So it's like every prince has a guardian beast. Those beasts not only cannot attack each other, it's like, okay, if the fourth prince is walking by the seventh prince, the fourth prince's net beast couldn't attack the seventh, or the seventh couldn't attack the fourth.
Yeah.
User. So the like if the two princes wanted to kill each other, okay, cool, but the net beasts aren't going to interact in that fight. So we also see Kurt Cobain's net beast approaching Theta, which, oh my god, that thing has such a hideous design.
Kurt Cobain is terrifying.
We'll get to that later, don't you worry.
His Nen Beast is terrifying.
And to sum up its powers, if you lie to Kurt 3 times, like, we know what happens the first two. The first time, you get a mark on your face. The second time, it bubbles up, and the Nen Beast itself directly, like, goes right up to your face and gives you warning. Like, if you lie again, like, there awaits a fate worse than death. So I don't know what
it is, but I'm guessing we'll get to see it.
Theta's gonna get fucked over. I feel it. Because
it's just gonna happen.
Yeah. She's also trying to keep Kurt away from Nen, and specifically state, like, one of my favorite panels from this arc is the one that's just, this is the only man that must absolutely never be allowed to learn Nen, because...
And then she teaches him Nen, lol.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where it gets a lot of overcomplicated explaining. The simplest way to put it is, later on, she decides, like, okay, instead of having someone else teach him Nen, I'm going to try to teach him Nen in the wrong directions.
Yeah, like, inefficiently. But then he's such a genius that he masters it, like, in a couple days.
Yeah, and then never happened before, when he takes the water test, might be jumping the shark a little bit, but when he takes the water test, it, like, bubbles out, like, vile ick poison water, and he's like, what the hell is this? And she's like, oh my god, what have I done?
Yeah, so he's a specialist, and he's bad news.
He is a specialist, all right. But anyway, let me look and see what happens. Early on, there were a lot of bodyguards trying to approach Kurapika's room. I am sorry. I wish I had more to say.
Yeah, there's bodyguards. There's like a whole hierarchy where they can assign bodyguards to each other.
Here's something I remember. Some of the guards are trying to figure out, like, who's an end user and who's not. And there's the scene where Kurapika gives Oito a little eye through Stealth Dolphin to be like, look, see, Bill's the end user. But it's actually Oito operating it.
Yeah, and it avoids giving away either of their abilities.
Yeah, because if they found out it was Kurapika, it's like, oh, well, Kurapika can take people's powers and, like, distribute them. Which they haven't found that out yet. Or some people assume.
The only thing they know about Kurapika's ability is that he's a specialist.
Also, I think the first prince and his one little short, stout bodyguard also figure out the fact that, like, he could suppress powers, because whenever that guy with, like, the wind powers shows up, he's like, how is he not able to use his power? If he could have used his power, he'd have been fine. So we have to assume that Kurapika, like, locked it down somehow. They don't know the exact means, but they know that much.
Yeah, and I just want to say, some of the characters in the new art style look fine. Other characters may be a bit over the top, the first prince being one of them. With the insanely long nose and the insanely small eyes that are way too close together. Some characters just look goofy.
Like who? Send me a picture who you think looks goofy.
I can show you afterwards, but, like, just specifically the first prince and a lot of his bodyguards.
Fair enough. I don't really have an opinion on that, so I can't really comment. So, also, why I'm reading apart. What kept Kurapika locked into Emperor Time when he's using Stealth Dolphin, right?
Yeah, so when using Emperor Time with Stealth Dolphin, he can give it to someone else that allows him to use Stealth Dolphin again for himself. So essentially, he's holding on to 2 abilities. That's what the Emperor Time is. So he gives it to Oito, and they're waiting for Oito to use it to get a mosquito or something to spy on Saradnik. And what that is then is he like passes out. I can't remember why he passes out. I think it's from like overusing Nen.
It's the strain of keeping Emperor Time active.
Yeah, and he passes out for 9 hours. So that he'd had Emperor Time active for 12 hours, which means that he shaved 5 years off of his life.
Awesome.
Ouch.
At some point, they meet with the third prince, who I think the third prince's Nen Beast is one of my favorites. It's that big sun thing that keeps on spinning.
We have no clue what the coins do.
It's very ominous, like this sun thing floating in the background, and you don't know what the coins do.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I'm just letting you follow the wiki on this. It's better than my notes.
I'm skipping a lot. I mean, honestly, your notes would just be better because, like, there's a lot of information dump that I don't want to reread because it's going to take too long. Where are you at with your notes, buddy? I'm guessing
so this is where we kind of get to see the fourth prince is the genius with Nen, where he's like advancing really fast. This is where we learn that that Krollo's on the ship, as well as the trope. And it's like, okay, cool, more moving parts. That's fine, I guess. And then we have to, oh my gosh, I forgot everything with like the mafia families on like the 3 levels and like they're the different families and all the rules with that and how they like rule everything under there. And how they have to like prevent riots and how they're like illegitimate children, but like they're also sending people. There's like the girl that can like have her people level up.
Yeah, and then there's also that one guy in the warehouse who's just screwing with them who can move through walls, but since he's a person who can teleport, there's certain restrictions to that. And again, like, I'm looking at the wiki, guys. I'm sorry, this isn't the best like review, but there's once again,
there's so much. It's good writing, right? Like, I think everything that's written is written well and is interesting. There's just so many moving parts all at once. It's like cool. Like you wanna do something sweet, do it, establish it, finish it, and then move on to the next thing. And I think part of that is probably a consequence of Togashi, writing this sporadically and throughout. He's like, oh, I want to do this, and oh, I want to do this, and that's what Hunter x Hunter has been. But in the past, it's been to where he's like, oh, I want to do this. He'll do it. He'll finish it, and then he'll move on. And but again, with Secession Contest, he just doesn't finish it. And you know what? I hope Togashi stays healthy and that he gets healthier and that he's able to do this. And I'm glad that he's still giving us what Hunter x Hunter he can. I just wish he was just wrap stuff up, man.
Yeah, finishing out plot points because there's too much to balance. Like I'm not against an author juggling a few like plot lines all at once, but I don't think any author like One Piece does that often. I think Togashi's done the most out of any like manga author I've seen for shonen so far, and it's like that. I just wish we had some closure on certain stuff. Like if you introduce the silent majority guy, like we haven't even gotten to that yet. Like there was Kurapika. Okay, early on, Kurapika makes the announcement about Nen. There's something I can adequately explain is in the midst of all this, Kurapika is trying to draw the fight to a deadlock. He's trying to make sure that, like, think about it like mutually assured destruction. If everybody has Nen, nobody's going to want to use it because then there's too many factors. Like let's say you're working for like the first prince and you're like, okay, the fifth guard and lower don't have anybody that knows Nen. Only have to worry about these people in the upper guards, and only 1 or 2 of them know Nen. We could take them out. Perfect. But
I'm going to also say this is another criticism I can have. Sorry to interrupt you, Kyle.
No, you're good.
This is another criticism that I have, and I've seen a lot of other people have about Secession Contest, and it's kind of true for Hunter x Hunter as a whole. But it's the inconsistent representation of who knows about Nen.
That is also true.
Because, like, Heaven's Arena and whatnot, it's like, yeah, it's like a secret test for hunters. Not many people know it. But then you have, like, Heaven's Arena itself, where people get to watch matches with these people doing things. It's like, oh, I guess it's just magic. And then, like, specifically, you have Krollo versus Hisoka. And it's like, I mean, how can you watch that and not know about Nen? Right?
Yeah,
and like you're watching these public spectacles with these guys doing something that humans just can't do.
You're also talking about them talking. You're also listening to them talking about Nen.
And then you have like the princes didn't know about Nen. A couple of them did. But the guards didn't know about Nen. it's like I mean, really, it was described by this. What you call it? Think what you will of him. New World Review. I like a lot of his content. Maybe not so much Grand Line Review anymore. I like New World Review.
I don't know who that is. But...
I'll send you some of it. He does pretty good videos. Crucify me if you want to. I like him.
Okay.
And he kind of worded it well. That he said Togashi portrays Nen like people know about Nen when he wants them to know about Nen and don't when he doesn't want them to. And that's fine. That's fine. It's just inconsistent. And I think it's a valid criticism to have towards this. Like I said, I don't personally care, but it's a criticism towards it.
Okay, hold on. I know this might be jumping the gun a little bit, and I still want to finish what I'm saying with Kurapika. Can we talk about that one dense motherfucker with Biscuit, who's like, nope, I'm not gonna open the door. I'm not gonna open the door.
Until she goes gorilla mode, and then he's like, oh, mommy.
It's literally what happens. I hate that. Okay, but we'll save that for later. Getting back to this, so Kurapika's trying to draw everyone into a deadlock. And so he's trying to teach everybody Nen. and this is an example of like finish out a plotline they introduce. Because this could be something they could easily try to finish out, which could also be useful for teaching Nen. In the classroom, there's a guy who's just there. It looks like a weird Nen creature. The name is Silent Majority. And it goes around killing non-Nen users with these like Nen snakes. And if more of them bite you, like they suck your blood, like they kill you, they murder you, and that's something that just hasn't been resolved. They've been doing the Nen lessons, people have been attacked, and then as far as I can remember, nothing happened. Like they're just keeping on going. Yeah, we would remember if Silent Majority had been defeated. We
haven't even seen Silent Majority since its introduction.
We haven't even seen.
We've seen like two things it's done. We have seen the user like twice since its introduction.
Okay, I don't remember that. Which
I think he was in like 2 panels or something.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it was whenever we were introduced to like the couple other people Silent Majority had killed.
Because all I remember is the woman was like, "Do you not see that guy in the back?" And everyone's like, "What person in the back?" Which leads into like it possesses the person as like part of its activation, and then it sends Nen snakes on.
It's the Nen of the one bodyguard of the first prince. Like he's the user.
Okay, cool. But
yeah.
They had like no resolution with that. There's just a lot of open threads that aren't concluded.
And like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, you can have lingering like plot threads. But Brandon, we haven't even gotten into like a lot of other stuff. Like
we are skipping over so many details.
Oh my god, I'm just trying to follow along with the wiki, man.
Alrighty, let's see what's next in my notes. Oh yeah, we get to see Momose dies. The 12th prince dies. She's strangled. We get a nice little scene with Oito. I really like Oito, other than the fact that she's just a MILF. Where Oito's like I wouldn't expect you guys to get it. Like, killing people must be normal to you. She's like, I just wanted to save my stepdaughter. It's like, aw, that's nice. Hanzo is mad about it. And we get to see Hanzo's Nen.
I also found a part in the wiki where it talks about Silent Majority. So, let's see. I'm scrolling down there. Let's see. Looking down. Still the Silent Majority stuff. Okay.
Then we get to see Saradnik is mad at Theta. Because he's like, Kurapika says he can teach Nen in 2 weeks. And he said it'd be 6 months. And she was like, yeah, but he's going to teach him all.
Quick thing. This one's actually very important. Do you remember that weird like digital chamber with the 14 like tombs?
Oh yeah, that was kind of odd, wasn't it?
Because one of them died, and the king is standing beside Momose's body in that big chamber, and it's just like the question of like, what the fuck is this? Why are there these 14 like caskets all hooked up to this one machine in the middle? That's weird. In 85 chapters.
Yeah. I was gonna say this arc is on pace to be longer than Chimera Ant, and that's not a good thing, since the pacing of Chimera Ant just objectively wasn't the best.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love Chimera Ant. It's my favorite Hunter x Hunter arc. The pacing wasn't the best.
I think after we see Hanzo use his power, which like makes up shadow copy, he goes and kills the person who killed Momose. We see Camilla just being like, you know what? I'm gonna go kill the first Prince Benjamin. I just feel like it.
Yeah.
And then
her ability where she's like, it's post
kill
mortem
her-
then, where if you kill her, you die and then she comes back to life. But then they found out her weakness of just don't kill her.
that was just really funny. Where, oh crap, she's so strong. What do you do? And Ben was like, just don't shoot her or restrain her.
And just throw her in prison.
I think there was an explanation for her Nen Beast does. I don't remember it, but yeah, she's just stuck in prison now, so that takes care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't kill her, so there can only be a prince left. Like, how do you get rid of her? Questions for. I'm sure we'll get resolution on that real quick. Ain't that right?
Yeah, totally. God Oito is such a MILF. I wrote that in my notes because it's true. She controls the little mosquito to try and spy on Saradnik, but it goes and it's eaten by his Nen Beast, which is terrifying.
This is also the point where Hanzo tries to return into the room and is like, hey, yo, where's the room at? Because the room's just gone.
Yeah.
And then, from what we find out later, which we'll touch on, like, they don't know if it's an offensive, defensive, or just, like, the prince's ability that's moved that room. Like, it's taken the room, it's made, like, a spatial dimension out of it, where...
Do we even know what did it? It's assumed that it's the prince's Nen Beast, but we don't know what did it, right?
We know how it operates somewhat, where the room's cut off. If you leave, you can't come back in, so it's a one-way. Like, if you leave, you can't come back, so it seems offensive. Let's see.
Yeah, we get to see Drop is on the ship looking for Ahsoka, second prince. The first prince is Nen, not his beast. I don't think we know what his beast does. But his Nen is that, like, if people pledge their loyalty to him or something, he can use their abilities.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to Krollos, but I don't know if he steals their ability. It's interesting enough, I guess.
Also, this is where I think in Sail, where he's the fat guy, that he has, like, the smoke, where it's like, man, this guy's really cool. And then the more smoke someone inhales, like, it's just how I described it to Cade. A coughing spawns above his head, or a wheezing. If you take in enough smoke, a coughing forms above your head, and you can also spread the good word of Sail.
That's so true. And then he dies because his Nen Beast is just straight up eaten.
Oh yeah, so
by Predator.
If you kill a Nen Beast, you kill the prince, right?
Yeah.
Because
I guess it's never 100% confirmed that he's dead, but he's dead.
Oh god. Do we want to talk about the big old Predator panel of the one dude who's just the only drawing is him thinking and everything else is
I don't care about Predator. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Kyle.
Okay, I have an opposite reaction. I like the concept because
I think it's neat. I don't think it took that much explaining.
Oh, of course not. God, no. No, nothing needs to take that much. But here's Predator for those who don't know or are watching this and don't remember. So there's this guy, one of the first Prince's bodyguards, right? And he has the ability of Predator, where if the closer he gets to figuring out what a person's power does, he can consume it with his power and just get rid of it. And he has to figure it all on his own. If anyone tells him what it does, it just becomes useless because the more intuition he has on your power, the faster he can get rid of it. So he has to observe, carefully figure out what it does, and if he does, boom, he can set Predator on it. And it takes a long cooldown. See how simple that was? It didn't take an entire fucking page in a college level graduate PhD writing to solve that.
I mean, it's heavy reading.
Anyway, not gonna dwell on it. Not gonna dwell on it.
We get to see that Illumi has joined the Spiders.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he joined on the request of Hisoka, where Hisoka was like, "Yeah, join, try to kill me, lol." So now we get to see that Illumi is probably going to die, because Illumi is one of the Spiders, and Togashi has said the Spiders will die.
Oh, also, I'm looking in the wiki. I haven't seen them yet, but I also saw where we figure out what Halkenberg's actual power does. I think.
Yeah, that's another very long panel or long page.
This is also when that one idiot that's Nen isn't real. Nen's just not real. You guys are making it up. Whenever he sees Biscuit, he goes, "Mommy."
Mommy. It's us with Lion Mommy. That's just what it is.
Bisky does look pretty good in like the outfit they gave her, like the
Yeah,
the
no,
long-
I was like, yeah, no, I was like, she's pretty attractive. I won't lie to you.
No, she was attractive. Like in the dress, she looks kind of silly, but
Yeah, in the,
like
in the little dress, but no, in the outfit they gave her, it's like, yeah, no, yeah, mommy, I guess, yeah.
mommy, yeah, mom, yeah.
Yeah, mommy, what can I say? Oh, we also get to see Melody helps Cacho, the 10th and 11th princes. She helps them escape. But then they are going to escape, and then like, oh, if you leave, you die. And so the 11th prince gets in, and then she's like, Cacho, where are you? And then Cacho gets in. It's like, oh, that's nice. But then it's like, yeah,
Okay,
the 11th prince's ability allows her to open gates.
I want to touch on this plotline real quick because once again, like I enjoy some of the problem figuring out with like powers in Hunter x Hunter, because when the 11th prince uses her power, she's like, what? Because most people would just assume, or in another show, in another manga, it'd be like, okay, my power is a two-way portal, where she's like, hold on, there's a lot of factors to involve here. What about this? If I leave, can I come back? What if I go here? And she just has this entire like map charted out where it's like, what can my power do? And she wants to test it first. I do appreciate that. And we eventually do find out that her power is linked to the 10th prince. And like Brandon said, they try escaping. They both seemingly make it out okay. And then you get the really sad panel of her dead in that little boat. And it just explains what her Nen Beast does. If either of them dies, the other takes on the physical form and just lives out as them.
Yeah.
Which that's really fucked up.
It is. It's also the question of how are they going to get her body back for the little circle thingy with the tombs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm guessing they have their methods.
They'll probably will. Oh boy, hey look, another victim of silent majority.
Ooh, that's crazy. What is it?
Yeah, too bad I could not explain that entire plot thread.
And then we get to see Hulkenberg go. He confronts his father. He tries to kill him, but he doesn't die. And then he tries to kill himself, but he doesn't die. And then he's like, all right, fine, gloves off then. And then he like shoots someone, and his assistant like takes over their body. And then he has them kill themselves in front of the first prince's bedroom. And then he's like, are you okay? Because it's like, does he repossess his old body? And then we don't see anything else after that.
I think take it a little bit slower. I want to talk about the prince's actual power, because his power is really cool.
Yeah.
He basically makes this giant like soul arrow. And as they explain it, it's like using the power, like he protects himself and his guards. Like when he's firing this arrow, they're invincible. And he shoots this arrow. And it's explained that it can pierce through any form of defense. And if it hits you, you lose all the will to fight, which I'm guessing means like one of his guards takes over that body.
Yeah, that's how it's shown, is that one of his guards collapsed. And then like it was shown that like that guard took over the body. And then, so they wanted to test some things, so he went and killed himself in that body in front of the first prince's bedroom. And his body was fine. It was in like a coma state. And then we get to see him in the body. And the 11th prince being like, how are you? And we don't know. That's the last we see of them.
Anyway, this was interesting. This is when Kurt takes the water divination test, and he's like, ew, why is the water all rotten and gross? She's like, oh god, what have I done?
Yeah, she's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have taught the one guy I shouldn't have taught Nen.
I mean, he is, seriously, like, we thought Gon and Killua picked up on it fast. This dude is insane.
Like, this is the fastest human to have learned Nen so far in Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
And he's a scary one at that. I'll read some stuff right now. Okay. Can we, like, summarize the Phantom Trope stuff real quick? Just, like, really quickly. They show up on the boat. They're trying to find Hisoka. And in order to do that, they have to work with some of the Mafia members. There's some stuff that happens with that, like a Mafia guy who kills other people because he can, like, move around the ship. And,
and that's because, like, so there's, like, a Mafia family for each floor. And each one of them is an illegitimate child of the king. Or in one case, it was an illegitimate brother of the current king.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's neat. And they have like 2 scars across their face. And each one of them is like the member of a Mafia family. And I don't know if each of them has a special ability, but if nothing else, the one on the third floor does have a special ability where she can imbue in her people. I think there's a set number of people she can do this to, where they have levels. And like a regular person is worth 1 level, an end user is worth 10, and a prince is worth 50. And once they hit 20 levels, they get their own Nen ability. And once they hit 100, they can give other people levels. Like they can start other people off on that.
What this power is like?
What?
It's like that really shitty Mafia City ad where it's like level 1 gangster, level
Oh,
1.
it is. That's exactly what it is, Kyle.
That's it. That's all it is. Like you get levels and you do stuff for it, and that's kind of all I want to touch on this with, because there's just so much, and
There's so much convolution. Like, this is a cool idea, right? But it's in the background of everything else we have talked about so
like
far.
the spiders are working with the Mafia family, and I'm scrolling down through a lot, guys. I know I'm skipping a lot, but I'm also just
I have exactly 1 note left, because at this point I just kind of stopped caring about taking detailed notes.
We actually see, like, after all of the Phantom Trope, like Mafia family stuff, we see Predator eat Sales Beast, which I guess, like,
And he's dead, lol.
Oh my god. Okay, can we also, one thing, not criticism, I think Nen names are really stupid. Some of them. Either they're really good or really bad. Like, let's see, hang on. Soshi's ability, comma, how to get away with murder, comma.
They're just not catchy.
No, it's not.
It's not like stands, but then you can't beat stands.
Also, this is the point where How Breaks Den B stops him from killing himself, and he's like, alright, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm just going through a lot of it, chat.
Yeah.
This is the escape thing that we were talking about. Oh my god. Alright. We see Siderish or whatever his name, with 2 Nen beasts. Scrolling through a lot. Okay, this, let me check real quick, because I think we actually just talked about the rest of this. But we're not going to talk about the guy that shoots himself in front of the door, because there's just too much involved. There's too much involved. That is all I have to say. So, I'm skipping through a lot, Brandon, I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. Like I said, I have 1 note left, and it's exactly what you think it is.
Okay, before that, though, okay, we can touch on 3 things. 1, guys, I'm sorry, just read the wiki if we're missing a lot of detail. I really, like, this is so unprofessional, I really hate to say that, but there's too much for us to talk about that's all jammed up in 3 chapters.
We just wanted to read Hunter x Hunter and then record ourselves talking about it. We're not professional reviewers here. We haven't been paid.
Like, if we did this, like, 5 chapter by 5 chapter, like, we could, I'm gonna say it, we could definitely have gotten to a deeper discussion, but it's like a general overview. Please don't stress.
And also, I mean, it's just 30 something chapters. We did larger chapter bundles for Chimera Ant, and we were able to talk about that in depth just fine.
Two things.
It's the writing itself, what you call it. I mean, if you're this far into the video, you're an hour in. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe.
Holy shit. So, this is after what we obviously want to talk about. We've been saying the coolest thing for last. So there's, isn't this the Mafia thing where it's like the guy with the blood power, the guy that turns the snakes into guns? Like, do you remember anything about that?
That is like in the last chapter.
Let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll talk
There's
about
the 3 new people introduced that are doing something for the Mafia.
Yeah.
And like they have some abilities and they do something in the cafeteria, and I think the Phantom Trope is there. So there's the dude that turns the guns into snakes.
Let's get into Kurt Cobain's King Crimson.
Kurt Cobain's King Crimson. The reason you clicked on this video because that's the title.
Let me preface it real quick. So, we see, oh god, what's her name? Theta? Yeah, Theta.
Yeah, Theta.
Theta teaching Kurt about Zetsu. And her plan is, this was really smart. But, like, in a normal sense, you'd want to achieve this type of piece with Zetsu, but she's using it against Kurt. Because what she wants to do is, she's trying to get Kurt to be in such a perfect state of meditation to where, like, nothing sets him off. Nothing at all. because she's just gonna pull out a gun and fucking shoot him in the head. Like, that's her plan. She's trying to make it to where like he'll concentrate so much.
And by turning off his nin, his guardian nin beast also goes away.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. And then, oh god, as we see, Kurt gets a little fucky with the space-time continuum.
Yeah. Kurt Cobain's King Crimson.
He's in the middle of practicing, and he's having these weird visions, and then, like, he has one, he opens his eyes, she's, like, talking, and he's like, this conversation is making no sense. It's like she's on, like, a pre-recorded script, pretty much. And then he goes back to it, and then at one point he clicks, and he's like, oh my god, like, this Nen shit's fucking cool. Because he figures out through like a little bit of trial and error that if he enters the state of Zetsu, he's also canonically able to spam this, mind you. He even says like he can use this back to back.
Yeah.
He can see 10 seconds into the future. Tell me this sounds familiar. He can view 10 seconds into the future. Everyone else follows exactly what he foresees, and they can't change their actions, but he's the only person that can change what happens during that time. He's the only one that's able to change. Also, what's even more broken is they see a projection of him and they don't even realize that he's activated the power. Like, his projection.
I was gonna say that's the one difference between him and King Crimson is that I at least as far as I remember with King Crimson, people don't remember what happened during skip time.
No, they don't. They don't remember.
But people remember exactly what happened during skip time with Kurt Cobain's King Crimson.
It's because it plays out. It's not even necessarily like he's skipping time. It's just that he's outside of time and he has a projection of himself there.
Well, that's what King Crimson does too.
So,
except he's also ethereal whenever he skips time.
Yeah.
King Crimson is discussion for Nicole and I have talked about it extensively ourselves.
So let's talk about this real quick. So, before we figure out what his powers are, like, I thought this reveal was pretty sweet. He enters the state of Zetsu, like, we see her plan going through, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna kill him. She pulls out a gun, shoots him, and I was like, what happened? And she's like, there, it's over. And then, like, she hears Melody's music, which might mislead the viewer into thinking, like, something happened. She turns around, and there he is. She's like, oh my god, like, I shot him. His Nen Beast gives her a second warning of, if you lie to him again, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna give you a fate worse than death. And that's where it ends off. And then later we actually
turn you into a goon.
Later, we get this reveal where he's in Zetsu, and we actually see his reaction during that, where she pulls out a gun. He's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And then gets shot. And he's like, "I don't know why. I don't know why she wanted to kill me." That's another problem for later. For now, this Nen shit's pretty fucked, and I like it. So, yeah, it's King Crimson without a shadow of a doubt. It's just King Crimson.
So the question is, how do you beat King Crimson without GER?
Okay, so
it took the most busted stand in JoJo to beat this.
And here's the thing. This was probably the best part of the Secession War because it sets up, like, we know how evil this guy is. Like, I would say, in a way, more evil than Diavolo, because, spoilers for JoJo, the guy who owns King Crimson, like, his whole thing is he's a mafia boss leader who just wants to remain on top. Like, he's done bad things, but this guy, like, why is it that if I had a nickel for every time there was a character in a manga who was trying to become, like, the apex of society with a time skip power, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot.
But it's weird that it happened twice. Like, this was so cool to see, because, I mean, it's the same thing. Granted, Togashi overcomplicated the power, because you remember the entire panel of him, like, it literally flowcharts his power.
Yeah, I just skipped it. I didn't even pay attention to that. I was like, I get it. I was like, I don't need that.
The King Crimson example, I skipped over it. But yeah, no, that leads me to be very excited, and I think that's it. Again, everyone.
Yeah, we skipped a ton of details. I'm not sorry about it.
I mean, I kind of am, because I like to believe, like, as someone who's studying English, I like to be able to believe I could read a story, like, get a lot of the details and talk about it thoroughly. But granted, I wasn't prepared for the sheer amount of info dumping that this had brought on, like, with the previous sorts of Hunter x Hunter or Black Clover. Like, we both read it and retained enough, like, the important bits to have proper discussion about it. That's what happened. And, like, I love Succession contests. Okay. how would you rank since this is the last episode of Hunter x Hunter? How would you rank the Hunter x Hunter arcs? Let's go through and give our personal little rankings, shall we?
All right. So I actually did this in my So I've Been Reading video on Rat's Nest. Check out the Rat's Nest link in description. I put Dark Continent Expedition on the bottom. Not because I disliked it, but because it was the shortest.
That's fair.
And preface, in case you're this far in the video and you haven't seen our others for whatever, we don't consider Zoldyck a separate arc. We kind of include it in Heaven's Arena. So Dark Continent is on the bottom, and then there's York New. And I put York New on top of Dark Continent just because I don't really feel comfortable putting it under Dark Continent.
Wait, sorry, repeat that.
I put York New on top of Dark Continent just because I don't really feel comfortable putting it under Dark Continent.
Damn,
on top of that is Hunter Exam. I really like Hunter Exam. It's extremely solid, and it works. You know, what can I say?
Does that mixed in with Zoldyck family?
Yeah, I'll add Zoldyck family to that one.
Hearing the name Zoldyck, it makes you think, huh? What happened to the Zoldyck that we know and love?
He's somewhere. He's never coming back.
He's gone.
No, he's Killua going his own wheel. You set yourself up for that one, Colin. You know it.
Yeah.
And so Hunter Exam is third from the bottom. And that's just, I mean, it's a super solid. I mean, I love all of Hunter x Hunter. I don't think there was a bad arc in Hunter x Hunter. But this is just ranking them relative to each other. After this, I think I'm going to put Secession Contest.
Really?
Just for the I really like Secession Contest, but I just think it has more negatives than the other arcs left.
That is true. That is true.
After this, I'm going to throw Chairman Election. I throw Chairman Election here because I really like Jing in it. I really like Killua in it, and I love Pariston very, very much. And it's kind of my recompense for putting Dark Continent at the bottom.
So for the last two arcs,
last three, it goes Heaven's Arena. I love Heaven's Arena. Hisoka versus Gon is my second favorite fight in the series. It's pretty simple. It's fun. My second to highest favorite arc is Greed Island. I love Greed Island very much. I would consider Greed Island the best Hunter x Hunter arc. You kind of give me, like, whenever I think Hunter x Hunter, like, I think Greed Island.
It encompasses like the adventure, going in Killua, learning about Nen. It's a good feeling, and people who disagree with Brandon about Greed Island, shut up.
Exactly. And then top is Chimera Ant. I mean, I know, rare opinion there. But I mean, Chimera Ant, I think despite my grievances with it, is an absolute masterpiece. And
it's great.
I just don't think there's much in any other arc in Hunter x Hunter that, in terms of pure writing, can really compete with it.
So let me give my quick one real quick. Going off what you said, like the bottom would probably be Dark Continent, simply because it's the most minimal. It's not only is it like 9 chapters, it's also a lot of setup to it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking at like the list of them right now.
Dark Continent itself doesn't really try to do anything. It just sets stuff up.
Which isn't bad. Again,
it's not a bad thing.
I would, and I hope it's not controversial. Like, I'm going to put Hunter Exam above that. That's just me personally. I really like. I do, but I think it's like with most early arcs in stories. Like, I think later ones are better. I have a higher opinion of York New than you do, so that's probably why I'll do that. And speaking of York New, I'll probably put York New right above Hunter arc, or the Hunter Exam.
Okay.
I'll put the Succession War above that because there's a lot that I love, but again, like Kurt Cobain's King Crimson is not enough to like salvage a lot of the issues I have.
And it could go up. It just depends on how it ends, if it ever ends.
how it ends. 13th Hunter honestly, I might actually put it I might do 13th Hunter Chairman right below that one. Like, I do.
Okay, yeah.
So far it's Greed Island, Hunter Exam, York New, 13th Hunter Chairman, Succession War, with probably kind of, I'm not just trying to follow your trend, but like, come on, Heaven's Arena solid. It's a phenomenal arc. Greed Island is also really good. As again, you and I are the only two people out in this ocean of people that like Greed Island, apparently.
Because it's amazing.
It is. And then, who else but Chimera Ant?
Yeah, what an original opinion, Kyle.
I know, it's crazy. It's almost like I've had these opinions for years, but now I'm only able to express them with someone who's also seen the series, and I can talk to it in depth. Yeah, that's been Hunter x Hunter. Thank you everyone for joining us.
It's been fun. It's been a fun series.
Yeah, and I think our next series is going to be Bleach.
Yeah, which we've already started on. Well, so a little bit of preface, and this will be in the first episode of Bleach as well. I have seen up to a bit into the Arankar arc, and I've read up to a bit in the Arankar arc, but a little less than I've seen in the anime. Kyle has just not seen Bleach.
Nope.
So it's going to be kind of him. It's going to be kind of the opposite of where I was reading Hunter x Hunter and he knew Hunter x Hunter. Well, he's reading Bleach. I know Bleach.
Yeah, here's the thing. I know nothing about Bleach. The only bits I know are the main characters, then the name Bankai, and like that's it. Like I'm going in virtually blind, which I'm so happy for because it's been a while since I've been purely blind going into something.
But yeah, any last little words you'd like to say, Kyle?
No.
Right.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? No, I'm an idiot. It's late, guys. It's late. Hunter x Hunter is really good. I'm still gonna put it in my top 5 of shonen. People who disagree, keep on hating. That's all I have to say.
All right, well, if you're this far in the video, obviously there's something you like, so make sure to like and subscribe and join the Discord, discord.gg/Goobers and Screens. And by that I mean go to the channel. The link is in the channel if you want to talk about stuff. Be sure to check out the Rat's Nest if you enjoy this type of content. I do the exact same thing over there, except it's just me, except for sometimes Kyle joins me. We do weekly reviews of Chainsaw Man and One Piece, unless by the time you're watching this, One Piece or Chainsaw Man is over, in which case we'll be doing something else. So I have a new series I started called So I've Been Reading. Currently airing is So I've Been Reading Kaiju number 8, but by the time this airs, it'll be So I've Been Reading Dragon Ball, or maybe even the next series. We hope you all have enjoyed this video. We hope you all enjoy the videos in the future. We will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.